What's up, guys? This is Neo, also known as Alvin, and you guys should know by now that Fire Emblem Fates is coming out pretty soon. I just wanted to do a video about 5 things you need to know before playing Fire Emblem Fates. Well, Fire Emblem Fates will be released this week, actually in 3 days, and this video will basically just to give some heads up and refresh your mind about what are we going to expect on the newest Fire Emblem. Before we start, I've played the Japanese version and I don't have the English version right now, but I do know what they've changed for the English version and what is going to be in the English version. So yeah, let's get things started here. This video will be spoiler free. I won't be talking nor showing about any specific story related detail. Story related info will be in the videos that are only parts that were shown in commercials or trailers or in some interviews, so it wouldn't be a big major spoiler since the commercial already kind of spoiled it, because yeah, they need to sell out the 2 different versions of Fire Emblem Fates. And so assuming everyone watching this video knows that if you want the real experience of a Fire Emblem game, is that you need to play this game on classic mode. For people that don't know, classic mode means that if your character dies during the game, like you accidentally let him get killed or something like that, the character is gone for good. Although you can still see some of them appearing in some story events or lines if he or she is an important character in the story, but you won't see them in your party anymore. So after clearing out some stuff, let's get started with what we'll be expecting in Fire Emblem Fates. Number 1, this Fire Emblem is new. Duh, of course it's new, the game isn't even out yet. No, I'm talking about the lore and how the game tells its story, or how it lines it out. What do you mean? This game is not a sequel to Fire Emblem Awakening, nor will it follow the legendary hero Marth lore, where Tiki is in, or the legendary hero Marth. But that doesn't mean it's gonna separate itself completely from the previous Fire Emblem games. What do I mean? Like, for instance, everybody knows there will be, well, there is, or actually is, Fire Emblem amiibos, and if you have Fire Emblem amiibos, you can access them in the game. Depending on which amiibo you're using, the character will appear in your castle, greeting you, stating that, well, most of them, like saying that they just happened to stumble upon your castle somehow, they got lost and got transported here or something, and after arriving to your castle 3 times, they'll challenge you to a duel, and after you win, the character will join your team. And yeah, they're pretty good. Their stats and their skills, not easy. Another thing is that there will be a DLC about Chrome and his team. Chrome is actually a leading character in Fire Emblem Awakening, the previous Fire Emblem game. You just somehow ended up there through the Dragon's Gate, but the thing is, Chrome won't be joining after you clear the mission. That kind of sucks, but hey, it's kind of a neat feature. So you see, there isn't a big connection through the previous games to Fire Emblem Fates. Now, that's the first part. What about the story? Oh, most of you that have seen the trailers and the commercials about this game got the hint already. It's pretty obvious. You know, there will be 2 kingdoms. There are 2 kingdoms fighting each other, and how you are related to both sides. You were raised in the kingdom of Nor, but born in the Hoshido kingdom. Yeah, you've got families on both sides. You were raised in the kingdom of Noir, but somehow you're actually blood related to the Hoshido kingdom. And depending on which side you choose will affect on storyline, classes, characters, your castle, and the difficulty. What people care about the most, besides the characters and classes, is the difficulty. The difficulty is really a big deal here, and why do I say that? How do I choose which path I'm going to take? Well, you choose by whether you bought Conquest, Fire Emblem Fates Conquest, or Fire Emblem Fates Birthright. Does that mean I can't play the other route if I bought either one of them? No, you can actually buy the other route from eShop or the retailer with the discount price. But Neo, are you saying that there's more than 2 choices to choose from? Because you said play other routes, and I'm saying yes, you can. There's a third route. Nintendo did say that there is Fire Emblem Fates Revelations, which is the invisible third kingdom. You can buy this route on Nintendo's eShop as well. This is quite obvious, you should know by now if you actually follow the informations about the official information given out. It's even on their official website. And I highly recommend you at least play through either Conquest or Birthright before you play Revelations, because it makes things and your experience more interesting. The way the characters reacts to you, and the dialogue that you'll get when you two are bonding each other, when they're talking to each other, it's totally different, and how it feels is different as well. What's more, you get characters from both sides later on if you're playing that route, so yeah, it can get pretty easy and pretty time consuming. Now if you bought the limited edition though, if you bought the limited edition, you'll have access to all 3 routes. But then how do I choose? Well, the game starts off by introducing the main characters from both sides. Note that if you choose classic mode right here, I'll just give you guys a note here, you can remember while you're playing, that if you chose classic mode, you don't lose your character if they get killed before you choose which path you will be taking. So take it easy during the first few chapters, because before you choose your path, the characters won't be leaving the party except for some some that are story-driven characters that needs to leave your party. So yeah, just to make things clear. After you see this cutscene right here, they will after you see this cutscene right here, they will prompt you for letting you choose which path you'll be taking. If you have all 3 routes, they will show all 3 right here. So after you pick, you go down that path. Sorry, that was my phone there. And oh boy, would you guys just stop? Now, okay, so where was I? Right. So how does it affect the difficulty? Well, this picture here kind of explains it. What does it mean? Oh, please, phone. What are you guys doing? Phone, please. Well, where was I again? Ah, right. The levels in the Conquest are designed to be harder than the levels in Birthright. Why I say that? Because they're more limited to grinding if you're playing Conquest. Yeah, and you don't get skirmishes like side quests or side missions, side levels. You don't get experience points for playing in or challenging other players in castle fights or something like that. So what does that mean? It means that you get less money, you get less experience point for each level when you progress, comparing to Birthright. So if you guys need to choose or think it through, if you're not getting the limited edition, you need to choose your path wisely, because Conquest is kind of hard. I don't know about the English version, but at least in Japanese version, it is kind of hard and very punishing. So yeah, if you're playing Fire Emblem series for the first time and you're gonna play Fire Emblem Fates, I recommend you play Birthright first, because really that's that's probably be the best. You'll get frustrated by playing Conquest, but if you feel like going for Conquest, I won't. Please be my guest, because it is fun. It is Fire Emblem, and yeah, if you can accept the challenge, do so, because it's fun. Really, I've played all 3 paths, and yeah, despite it being very, very hard and very, very punishing, but it's still fun. So number 2, the pairing system. You guys know that pairing system in Fire Emblem Fates is kind of different comparing to the previous game, Fire Emblem Awakening. In Awakening, you just pair up with your partner, and it will boost up your stats, and your partner will help you defend while you're defending and attack while you're attacking. But in Fire Emblem Fates, that's kind of different. You can still pair up, but you'll notice that it's not called pairing or duel or something like that. It's I think it's called defensive formation. I'm not quite sure what's it called again. I can't remember, but basically your partner still boosts up your stats. They do boost up your stats, but they will only help you defend while in combat. So is that kind of a little minor change, like really has a big impact on the gameplay? In my opinion, it actually does, because back then in Fire Emblem Awakening, all you have to do is just pair 2 characters together, and then you can send them off in the enemy front lines, and then they might just get, I don't know, you just need one team to take down a whole army or something like that. But in Fire Emblem Fates, you can't actually do it like that, because they actually boost up on classes' abilities, and the way they map their enemies and stuff. So, like, for instance, if you want to say back in Fire Emblem Awakening, you pair 2 people together and then you attack, both of the characters will attack. But if in Fire Emblem Fates, if you want both characters to attack, you actually need to separate them. And you guys know that when you pair someone in a team, they lose they use up their turn in your turn. And if you separate them, you lose the turn as well. It takes 1 turn to separate a certain character or team up a team. So you need to think about whether you should pair them up or just put them side by side, because if you want both of the characters to attack in Fire Emblem Fates, you need to put them next to each other in order to do a duo attack. So it actually does make a big difference, because if your character is not as strong or is not suitable for a situation to take many hits or to go out and take like shielding or something like that to aggro, your character will die in like one turn. So you need to think it through, because back in Fire Emblem Awakening, your character defends. If you pair them up, they can defend you, help you defend, like making the risk to the lowest. But in Fire Emblem Fates, if they're not paired up, the character next to them won't help you defend while they're getting attacked. So this is more like a more challenging. I would say it makes the game more challenging. So yeah, when you make your next move, you need to make sure that once after you attack, they will be safe during the next round. Like no enemy will get them killed, or one wrong move and you can get your characters killed, and you might want to have to start over if you're playing on classic mode. Okay, and number 3, class changing. Class changing, you know in Fire Emblems that there are certain types of classes, like heroes, knights, Pegasus knights, mages, ninjas, samurais. all those kind of class. And there are you can promote their class into a higher ranking class. I would call them class, blech, master class, but it's something like that. It's still in Fire Emblem Fates, but they changed it a bit different from Fire Emblem Awakening as well. Why am I comparing with Awakening? Because Awakening is the last game we had from Fire Emblem, excluding what's it called again? Gen Ei Bunroku Sharp FE. Yeah, I wouldn't count that as a Fire Emblem game, but anyways, in Awakening, you just what's it called again? Yes, in Awakening, when you change your class, your character actually resets their levels back to level 1, but they keep some of the stats that they earned when you leveled on their previous class. But here in Fire Emblem Fates, it's not exactly like that. Because in Fire Emblem Fates, you'll notice that if you change your classes in a parallel line, like their rankings are in the parallel. What do I mean by that? If you don't get the class promoted, the levels will not reset back to 1. It can only get reset your levels if that it's getting promoted. So that means, like, then does it mean that I can't do things like I did in Fire Emblem Awakening, like reclass characters and then let them learn new skills and earn more stats, powering them up? And not actually. I guess grinding and reclass characters makes the game a little bit too easy, so Nintendo decided to make this a bit challenging. But it's not like they're trying to limit you to earn more skills, because you actually need those skills. So how do I get the skills? Like, how do I do this? Like, I can't reclass every time, right? That's gonna have effect on my stats and time consuming that really doesn't give you that much benefit. So that goes into our next topic. Number 4, my castle. Well, your castle if you're playing it. This is a new system they implemented in Fire Emblem Fates. Instead of the traversable world map in Fire Emblem Awakening and Fire Emblem Sacred Stones, we have our own castle. Like, every time you finish a mission or finish a story, you go back to your castle. You build your castle, you grind resources in your castle, you bond characters, and you prep buying weapons or something like that for your next battle in your castle. What does it have to do with learning skills that I just mentioned? Well, the thing here is that you can find other players' castle online, or use or search for their castle code number if they gave it to you or posted it up online, or even through Street Pass, and you can access to their castle. And so, what do I do in their castle? Well, you can challenge them to a duel or a fight, and if you win that fight, you get to keep a duplicate of their teammate member, or you can inherit the character's skills to your own character. Sounds nice, right? Right? I mean, it's a new way to learn more skills and stuff, and it's actually easier. You don't need to reclass. You don't need to level them up after reclassing. The downside, though, is that it costs money, and some skills aren't that cheap. So good luck to those who are playing Conquest, and because you're getting less income comparing to Birthright. And hooray for playing Birthright, because you get to farm skirmish missions and earn more money. And you level up easily. Yeah. Yeah. I played Birthright on my first playthrough. But anyways, number 5, the minigame. Now, this is where the controversy comes in. A lot of people weren't happy when Nintendo of America announced that they cut out one part of the minigame, one section. There is a minigame where you get to pet another character. It doesn't matter if if it's a girl or a guy, or a boy, guy, whatever. A lot of people are complaining about that, and taking out the mini game where you can pet your waifu or your husbando in your room. But to be honest, I was kind of on thinking like that as well. I do have the same opinion when I first heard it, because I think it's cutting out contents that that consumers and players should get, because it really isn't that of an issue, in my opinion. Maybe the social justice warriors were kind of, I don't know, made a big impact on Japanese developers lately. I don't know. I'm not sure. It's just my assumptions. But after thinking this through, like, since it's gonna be released and they're just gonna keep it that way, it got me thinking, looking on the bright side. Like, after watching it, not all of it has been taken out. What do you mean? Like, you can actually still pet on the characters in some certain situation. What do I mean? But you see, there are little events that happen when you get married in your room. Your other half might be sleeping or doing something else, and if she's sleeping, you actually need to wake her up, or if your husband was sleeping, you have to wake him up by petting or poking or stroke or rub, whatever makes you happy, you know. And yeah, that's still there. They actually didn't take that part out. And besides that, now here's the most important part, well, to me, that it actually saves you a lot of time, to be honest. Oh, why do I say that? Because once you get in the Japanese version, once you get into the room and you want to bond with your other half, you actually need to complete that mini game every time, and you can't skip it. If you try to skip it, it actually just cancels it. You can cancel the mini game, but you can't skip the process. And if you want to have good results through the process, you have to play the mini game every time, which can get boring if you're playing it 3 times. Like if you're playing Conquest, if you're playing Birthright, if you're playing Revelations, you have to do it every time. That's what I meant by time consuming. It actually saves a lot of time. All you have to do after they took out the minigame, all you have to do is just click a button and you're done. I mean, just click bonding, or like inviting people to your room to chat, and then you're done. Hey, you don't need to do any work. You don't need to rub them gently or like the way they like it. You know, I mean, it's not like you two are making out. You're really making out, but it's like you'll get to a point where you just want to hurry up and progress the game and not wasting your opportunity to bond the characters after each mission, because you only get to bond one time after each mission you complete or you finish. And by that, I think I made a point, because although you guys are still like, I know people will still rather want the minigame in, but to be honest, it's not that bad. Really, it's not that bad. You still get some parts of the minigame, so yeah, I'm kind of grateful for that. And so there you go. That's 5 things you need to know before playing Fire Emblem Fates. I hope this video helped you out. The game comes out on February 19th and is a game worth adding to your 3DS library games. It's fun, it's challenging, and yeah, have fun bonding all those characters and making kids, fight for glory, justice, or the truth, depending on which path you take. And this is Neo, also known as Alvin, and I'm out.